Hello everyone and welcome. I'm Sarah Liz and I have a fun card project for you from last Friday's Craft Roulette. This is my project and it has a split in the middle. We have a gatefold card. My jolly colors are this sort of retro Christmas vibe with the teal and pink and green. My element, my fruit is my avocado. I've been waiting to use these dies since I got them. It's been like 2 months and I don't usually let things sit in my stash that long, but they already have a heart on them. It comes like that. So that's my random element is my heart. So let's get started. Part of what I really love about this card is that it has this magnetic closure. That means we don't need a belly band and the sides aren't gonna flop open. I love doing this with gatefold cards. To make our card base, we're going to start with a half a sheet of cardstock. It's 8.5 by 5.5. And we're going to score at 2 1/8 inches on each end. Okay, and that will give us our 2 flaps that fold into the middle. So I'm just going to bring in my bone folder. I have some really sturdy cardstock. It's from Tailored Expressions. I love it so much, you guys. But it does take some careful folding. And I will just press that really firmly on either side. I don't make gatefolds very often because I don't like the flaps coming open. So that's why we're going to do our fancy closure. These 2 pieces of pattern paper are slightly smaller than the flaps themselves, just by 1/8 of an inch. So they measure 5 3/8 by 2 inches each. And I'm going to use my wet glue to add those on there because with that teeny tiny margin, it's a 1/16 of an inch margin all the way around. It takes some wiggling to really get that to fit right. And quite honestly, I did end up taking these to my trimmer and just like taking tiny slivers off to make sure that that margin looked really good. So here's the star of the show. These are the Happily Avo-After dies from Cat Scrappiness. And they're so stinking cute. There are 2 separate avocado dies and the faces are already in there. So I didn't have to worry about getting the placement right. I cut them out of green cardstock and I just kept the face pieces and used a black alcohol marker to color those in because I don't have time to cut them again. To hide that magnet, I cut the brown one out a bunch of times. We're actually going to need more than what's there, but we'll get there. I'm getting ahead of myself. I bought these dies because my oldest son, when he was in 2nd grade, had an avocado as the class mascot, Apollo the avocado. And guacamole kind of did it for me. I've been a fan of avocados for many years, but then this whole mascot thing happened. The whole family went a little bananas for avocados. So I bought this with him in mind, and I have just been waiting for the perfect occasion to use it. I mean, again, I haven't had it all that long, maybe 2 months. So there is this little deboss detail in the middle to show you where the heart goes. There is a separate heart die and you could cut that heart out of the middle. I just keep thinking these would make an absolutely incredible like baby announcement because Kat also has some little tiny avocado clay pieces and you could make that like her belly and there's a little avocado shaking around in there. Oh my gosh. Anyway, but I'm not having a baby. So I don't know. I don't need a baby announcement for me. So somebody else, if you need me to make you a baby announcement card, I would be happy to do that. So I am just figuring out where I want my avocados on my card. They're going to cover up that split in the middle. And then I'm going to put a Santa hat on one of them. And I want to kind of make sure everything's going to fit within my 5.5 inches and that it's going to overlap both sides and work really well. So that's why I'm just kind of holding them on there to figure this out. So I'm finally remembering to show you things. The Happily Avo-After dies. And then this is a Santa hat from Momenta. My Momenta. They don't really name their die sets. This has been in my stash for a long time. And it's a Santa with a hat on him. And I just stole the hat. And I was prepping all my pieces while I was watching Craft Roulette. So my apologies. I actually trimmed down the hat itself by shaving off part of that right side before I started filming while I was watching. I just got so caught up in it. So then I had to trim down this little fur piece, and I'm going to add the little poofy ball, and those are cut out of some glitter cardstock. I use the white glitter cardstock from Michaels. It does not shed, right? That was my question. It is like 20 bucks a pack, but it's a really big pack. I think it's an excellent bargain for what you're spending, because a lot of times that glitter cardstock is so expensive. Anyway, it doesn't shed. I am punching 2 holes in the middle of one of the avocado pieces, the brown pieces, and I need that to be 2 layers thick. We're going to use some teeny tiny magnets from Total Element. I'll try to link them below. Sometimes my link doesn't work, so if you're looking for it and it's not working, let me know in the comments, and I will figure that out. They change their website sometimes, but I'm going to layer that up 2 thick, and 2 layers of cardstock is as thick as the magnet. These things are so skinny. They're awesome. I'm going to glue that onto the back of one of my avocados. Then here are my magnets. Look at this. It is exactly the same size as a standard hole punch and as thick as 2 pieces of heavyweight cardstock. So I'm going to stick that in the middle of each of those. You could do 1 magnet, but then this will spin on your card. I do 2 magnets so it stays where I put it. And also the tip of my glue bottle is metal. So the magnet stuck to it and I ended up with glue all over everywhere. Then I'm just going to layer another piece of cardstock right on top of that. I have small children. Well, they're not that small anymore. They're 5 and 8. I like my magnets to be totally enclosed, so they're not going to end up somewhere they shouldn't. And I don't have to worry about them floating around the house. So I am temporarily taping these 2 together. I made sure they were the same orientation as the 2 I've glued together. And I'm just using a pencil to draw along the curve to show where I need to cut out for the bottom one. I can't just layer a whole nother brown layer of cardstock on the bottom because I'm trying to even it all out. So I need to remove the piece that overlaps. That's what I'm doing. So I'm trimming this out of 3 pieces. So we're adding the same number of layers that we did on the top. You could skip that, right? You don't have to, but for me, if you're going to go all out on a card, if you're going to spend the time and energy to like create this magnetic closure, I'm like, what's an extra 5 minutes? What's an extra 10 minutes? If I have it. If I have it. I had it this night. I was up way past my bedtime filming this because I recorded as soon as Craft Roulette was over. So I'm just layering up those pieces where I trimmed the part out, and now I have this a really sturdy embellishment. I'm looking at the whole thing put together and I'm like, that light blue cardstock on the hat just isn't doing it for me. It's not, I don't know. It needed something. So I'm going to go in and use some mint tape. It's like Post-it tape to cover up the glitter cardstock. And I'm just going to come in with some Aqualicious ink. It's like a light teal, and add a little bit of depth and dimension to that hat. And then I'll go over the whole thing with a shimmer pen. And that bumped it up. That made it holiday. All the sparkle, all the shine, holidays. Yes. Okay. So here we are. I am going to temporarily tape this to the front of my card because I need magnets on the back if I want it to hold the card closed. So I'm setting my magnet on there and it's attaching. These are really strong. It's attaching to the magnet in my avocado, and I just drew a circle around it so I know where I need to put it and hide it. Then I'm finding the other one and doing the same thing. So I have these hearts. They're the same ones that were on the avocados on the front, and I have punched a hole out of each heart. I'm going to cheat a little. I should have done 2 layers with a hole in them, but I was like, it's the back of the card. It was late. It was so late. So I just did 1, and I will glue that right over the hole that I drew, right? So make sure the magnet is where it needs to be. Draw a circle around the magnet, punch the hole, put the hole over the one that you drew on the back of the card, right? So here I am, and I'm kind of lining that up. Stick the magnet in there, and then I'm just adding a layer of glitter cardstock on top. You can kind of tell there's a little bit of a lump in the middle of those hearts because I only did the 1 layer with the hole in it. If anybody's looking at the back of the card that closely, I'm shocked. This is an emergency card kit. This one came out at the beginning of August. I'll try to link it below. There are some strip sentiments. It's a free printable. So I cut out the Happy Holidays strip sentiment here, and I'm going to use that on my card. It's about 1/4 inch. And then I have this strip of blue glitter cardstock that's about 3/8. So it's just 1/8 of an inch bigger than the strip. I glue it to the strip first and create an equal margin on 3 sides. And then I start trimming away very, very carefully on the 4th side. And I'm going to move that around on my card and try to figure out where it works best. I'm trying to be braver about my sentiment placement. And actually, I like it nestled right in here. It feels more like it's a part of the card than that bottom right corner, which would have been like where I initially gravitated towards putting it. There's so much dimension in those avocados that I wanted to stack this up just a little bit. And I had this tiny strip of scrap teal cardstock. So I'm going to add a few extra layers behind it. You could use foam tape or you could glue it straight to your card. Not a big deal. Once I get that all stacked up, I'll add some glue to the back and I will add that straight onto my card. Because I did the 2 magnets, I know that every time I put that embellishment down with the 2 avocados, it's going to end up in the exact same place. And I don't have to worry about when I put it down, maybe it's going to end up overlapping one of my gems or one of my sentiments. These gems are from Pretty Pink Posh. They're the pearl white gems. I'll link them below. I'll link everything below. And I'm putting them everywhere. It's a holiday card. All the glitter, all the sparkle. And then when I give this card away, I'll just write a note and let them know those avocados are a fridge magnet and no one has to feel like they need to keep the card forever. I hope you guys like this card. I love it so much. Avocados forever. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Hit that like button. Thank you for spending this time with me, and I will see you next time.